guys, today is Friday and I decided to post up another MW2 video for my Friday slot. This was a game that I filmed the other day, probably about 3 days ago now, and it is on Capture the Flag. And we had some of my regular crew plus a couple of new additions that don't typically play with us, but I wanted to get them involved and have them come in and play for a few games and stuff. And we decided to change up the chemistry a little bit. Now, as you may notice, I am not on a mad dash for the flag, and this is Capture the Flag, of course, on Trailer Park. But I am defending in this game. Any regular viewers of my Capture the Flag videos know that I'm typically a runner. I like to be up in the action. I like to be trying to outthink the enemy's defense and cap flags. However, I think it is very important for a team to occasionally swap roles, so that way they can be familiar with other objectives in the team-based environment. Typically, I don't have the patience for defending, but I need to get better at it, you know. It's a part that I don't do often, so I've been trying to pick it up. So before this game started, I said, I'm not running. Who's running? Sin Evil KS, of course, called out that he was. He is usually a typical partner in flag running. And the rest of the team was left with, well, I'm going to run. So all of a sudden we had 4 runners and just me on defense for a little bit. But that did get situated and sorted out, and it is interesting to see people's reactions to trying to be a flag runner for the first time. I don't think they realize just how difficult and annoying it can be from time to time, but it's definitely a fun role. So anyway, here I am, I'm on defense, you guys know that, and it's basically a test of discipline. And what I've been learning is defense really is every bit as important as the flag runners. They are going to be the backbone of your team, because no matter how many flags you cap, if you have no defense, the enemy team can still win. And I've especially seen games where people will get up like a 3 to 4 flag cap and all of a sudden their defense goes away because they think that's enough, and then we drop like 8 or 9 on them. And it just gets crazy like that. Almost no lead in CTF is big enough if you don't have a defense. Unless there's like only like a minute or something left, but yeah. So, with that in mind, enjoy watching me try to play defense. That's really all it is. I tried to speed up some of the boring bits and get through some of that stuff. One thing I will say is that if people like to play for KD, play for the higher kill streaks, you're probably looking at your team slayers right there on defense then, because it's not very hard at all to rack up bigger kills and big kill streaks playing defense, provided your mid-range people do let some slip through, and that is bound to happen. If you only have 2 typical mid-range, they can only cover so many areas of the map, and a crafty flag runner will slip through. But then again, you have times where you've seen me press up here now, I think it was twice, where their team was camped back pretty hard. Our flag runners were having a rough time, so they called for the defense to come up, and me and Plato made our way up there a bit more and into those center trailers to try to watch out and tried to help cover the path on the way back to the flag. Here we did let a flag get capped on us, which was a bit of an annoyance, and that comes down to the defenders who are on respawn times. That is very much vital. Your own teammates need to be aware of when your defenders are on respawn times. You need to call it out when you go down, because there it was, 2 defenders got caught, and I think mine was the Harrier, I think. But with that done, it was nothing we could do for like 7 seconds before we could get back in the action. By then the flag was long gone from us. And that also applies to whenever you're running. You need to pay attention to how many enemy players are on respawn and how much of an easier job it'll be to run the flag back. Alright, so here it is at halftime. And so with that in mind, I'd like to basically change gears and change topics here onto something else. I've basically covered what all really needs to be said for defending. That's a great claymore right there, by the way. If that thing trips, it blows up the car, and if they're anywhere near dead. I just really like that claymore. There it goes. I wanted to talk a little bit about assholes on the internet. And my god, there are so many of them. And I'm sure this is no actual news alert to anyone about how many people are just fucking mean-spirited dicks on the internet. And last night I was witnessing some internet assholery at its finest. Now, while I know most of my community is built up around Battlefield Bad Company 2 players, I bet a vast majority of you guys have at least heard of a gentleman named Wings of Redemption. You know him? He's usually a very polarizing figure in the YouTube community. People love him, people hate him, sometimes they're indifferent. But usually somebody will have an opinion on Wings of Redemption. Now, I will admit, I'm not his #1 fan. He does do some things that I don't particularly agree with, or didn't agree with at the time, or didn't understand. But you know what, I'm starting to come around, and he's not a bad guy, he's a good guy. He's out to help people, he's trying to have a bit of fun, just like anybody else on YouTube. But last night, man, there were so many asshole douchebags from those Halo FAG crew or whatever. They were going to all of his videos, spamming them, thumbing them down, non-stop comments, just hating on the guy. And it really just made me sick to my stomach to watch that. To see that that is what really is the meanest point of the YouTube community. It's just absolutely terrible to see what people can stoop to on the internet over somebody that makes freaking YouTube videos. I mean, seriously? That much viciousness and hate over a guy that makes YouTube videos and talks about it while doing it. Seriously, people? I mean, grow up. It was just absolutely appalling to see what they were doing because they don't agree with him or they don't like him, or the most logical thing is they have no idea why they don't like him, but they know it's popular to not like him, so they just go with it anyway, right? I mean, ooh, he said something that Hutch and other people didn't agree with once many months ago, and then it just, wow. I mean, seriously, it was just so, it was almost like an eye-opening experience last night watching that in action. I was going to some of his videos as well, trying to report for spam and whatnot, doing whatever. It's just such a wake-up call, just how vicious and vile the internet community can really be for no real good reason. So they pick a guy, screw with his videos, try to get his channel closed by flagging his material non-stop, try to get all that closed because they don't agree with him on the internet. I would be ashamed if I was associated with any of those guys. If any of you guys were doing that, by all means unsub for me in a hurry. That is just so pathetic Bush League actions, man. It just really annoyed me. Really made me realize just how easily the internet can be so vicious in a hurry. So, just wanted to share my thoughts on that. Maybe see what you guys had to say about that. It's just sickening. I don't know if any of you guys even know what I'm talking about, but just figured I'd talk about that, share my opinion, see what you guys thought. Anyway, I will see you Monday.